Hi, I'm Alan. In this video, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to more Geometry Dash. Today, we are deep diving back into stupid drama in the Geometry Dash community. I feel like there has been a lot of drama recently. It's been quite a long time since I've had to sit down, talk to you guys directly, and have a little bit of a chit chat about something ridiculously dumb within the GD community. And why not break the silence with probably one of the dumbest dramas that we've seen in a hot minute, in my personal opinion at least. What we're doing today is I'm gonna be presenting you guys with the facts. I'm gonna be presenting you guys with both of the sides of the argument, and we're gonna be having a little bit of a civil discussion about the matter. However, before we start, I do want to have a little bit of a disclaimer. I don't condone any sort of negative or aggressive behavior towards the Demon List staff or anyone involved with the situation. What usually happens in this community, because a lot of you guys aren't really that old, is that when you are strongly disagreeing with something, a lot of people tend to attack someone. When Marcus got 95 on Sonic Way Infinity and his record wasn't added, he had to repeat the level because he was stupid enough to exit out the level. People like Blitzer, who is one of the list leaders, got death threats, and that's not very cool. So don't do that. Please don't. I'm just here to present stuff, just to like give everyone a concise and I would like to think informative video about the situation, just to like make up your own mind about it. That's pretty much all I want to do. I'm gonna be going through all of it, and yeah. So no mean behavior. That's not very Cash Money. But anyway, let's hop into the thing that's happening. So basically what is happening is that a player named Hypo recently fluked Sonic Way Infinity from 78%. However, the reason why this is controversial is because his recording software decided to just stop functioning, and it glitched out, and he got 96% on it effectively, right? What happened was during his celebration, he accidentally hit his microphone and it disconnected from the thing, which made Bandicam, his recording software, glitch out. The recording just stopped after 96%. Why? We don't really know. It's probably related to the fact that his microphone disconnected, but basically what happened is that he does not have a recording of 96 to 100, so he didn't hit the end screen wall. And what the Demon List then decided to do was that they decided, yeah, we're just gonna add your record, but you're gonna get 96% because you did not technically complete the level per recording and per the Demon List standards, which, to be fair, that is completely valid. The Demon List has always maintained the integrity of, if you do not hit the end screen wall, you don't get 100%. The only exception is if your game crashes upon hitting the wall and you don't get the level completed screen, right? That is their one exception to this rule. You always have to hit the end screen wall. That is why Marcus did not get 100% on Sonic Way Infinity and had to rebeat. However, the thing that I want to make evidently clear is that this isn't Hypo's fault. Unlike Marcus, who exited out the level due to his own stupidity, let's be real, Hypo had no influence on whether or not the recording software crashed or not. He could not have predicted the fact that this was going to happen, right? He could not have predicted that his recording software was going to glitch out. And I think if there was nothing else, if it was just the recording crashing and he got 96, very fine. That's okay. I would have 100% understood it. The reason why I think this is really silly, and I think that this is stupid, and I think the integrity of the Demon List here is at risk, and why I think that this should be an exception, personally speaking, is the fact that he had an hour worth of recording. The recording is 1 hour worth of raw footage from start to finish. No cuts, no nothing. 1 hour of footage, and it just happens to glitch out at 96% due to probably the microphone disconnect, right? There is an hour worth of footage of him playing legitimately, getting to 96% on Sonic Way Infinity after hundreds probably of fails before that, for that past hour, to then have the recording glitch out, which is where I think this becomes really silly. If it was just like a shadow play recording, right, whereas like the past 5 minutes, yeah, fine, I would have understood it. I would have not put that on the list. I think that would have been way too risky. You don't really know what goes on behind the scenes. However, when you are 15% into the end screen of a level where you literally cannot die, I think that becomes pretty stupid. I think that becomes ridiculously silly, and while I understand the Demon List and why they want to maintain their integrity in the sense of they have to follow the rules and the guidelines that they have set themselves, having an hour worth of footage before the recording glitched, it's a hardware malfunction. It's a hardware malfunction. Therefore, they can't really do anything about it. It's out of their power to do anything about it. They've tried to recover the footage, but obviously that's not possible. So the fact that their record is not going to be accepted as 100% due to a hardware malfunction that they couldn't have done anything about, and when they have over an hour worth of footage from before that shows them playing legitimately, and they going through the entire level up until last input and still not getting the record accepted, I think is really stupid. And I do have a few examples of this where the integrity of the Demon List is at question. I want to mention first and foremost that me talking about this is probably going to get my record removed. I don't really care. I literally do not care. So I'm going to use myself as an example at first. Erebus by Platnu, the extreme demon that was put on the demons list. I beat it like 7 months before it got put on the list. And I was asked, hey, Aeon, do you have any raw footage and clicks for this? Because we're going to put it on the list. And I was like, no, I don't. I do not have that. Why? Well, I called an insane demon. I beat it 7 months ago. Why would I keep the footage for that? There was no reason for me to ever think that it was going to go on the demons list. So the list moderator in question, I'm not going to put them on blast because I feel like that's just unfair towards them. However, it was a list moderator. They were like, yeah, I agree with that. There's no reason why I should have kept raw footage. Why would you do that? They added my list to the list without me really doing anything about it. And that was that. I had no raw footage. The only thing I did was I said, I don't have it. You just have to take my word for it. And they did. Is that fair? Absolutely not. No, absolutely not. I think that is ridiculous and stupid. And I think if I can get away with something like that just because I beat the level long before it got added to the list, why shouldn't this be added there? Another example is RG. I've seen a lot of people bring up RG's Tartarus completion as an example of this. And I feel like there's two sides to that coin. While RG's record, obviously, people have no reason to doubt RG. RG's Tartarus completion was a little bit controversial in the sense that RG beat Tartarus, however, he did not have clicks. This was during a time where the whole you need to have clicks for it to be legitimate was like in a transition phase, whereas before you didn't really have to have clicks. Clicks wasn't a necessity to have your record accepted because there was a lot of trust involved within the demon list, right? However, as more prevalent hacking methods became available for people and it became harder and harder to actually point out hacking and point out hackers and cheaters, the demon list ended up making it required to have clicks for your completion. RGB Tartarus during that transitional phase where people still like started to have to use clicks, but it wasn't like guaranteed, it wasn't like 100% necessary, you know? So it was a little bit of a gray zone. And RGB Tartarus didn't have clicks, and at first it wasn't actually put in, so RG started trying to rebeat it. He had streamed a lot of it, done a lot of really good attempts on stream, and the demon list mods saw that it affected his mental health and was like, yeah, you know what? Sure, we'll make this exception, right? We'll make this exception for you so that you can have your Tartarus completion without it mentally destroying you, because we have enough evidence to prove that you are legit. However, he still did not uphold those standards that the demon list had put in place and were in the middle of transitioning into using. So people were like, okay, but why was that allowed, but this isn't? Because having a microphone on is kind of more of your fault than hardware malfunction. So there's no reason here for RG to have his record on, but Hypo's Sonic Way Infinity record shouldn't be 100%. What? You know, that kind of situation, right? And I feel like that's a completely fair thing to say. I feel like that's entirely valid. But then you have other situations like Moosh, for instance, a demon list leader at the time. He had to rebeat Sikoop in Hell. While that was on the list, it was like top 100 roughly, because his audio bugged out. His audio was completely destroyed. So the demon list ruled, no, you have to rebeat it or you're not going to get your record on the list because we can't know for sure if this is legit or not. And that was at the time where Moosh was a demon list leader. They tried to do their best to not be biased. Same with Mulzi. Mulzi used to be a demon list leader as well, and Mulzi's cromulent record was not ever accepted because he died past the last click to a bug in the end screen, which is very similar to what happens here. Why he died? No clue. And the same happened to stuff like Doggy with Omicron. Doggy had to rebeat Omicron because it died to the last ending, which you shouldn't really die to. We don't know why he died. It's a bug. It happens. But those are deaths. They are deaths in the end screen of the level. There was something there that killed him due to bugs. Doggy went for the coin. He didn't get the coin. The level bugged out even though it's not supposed to, and he died. Very fair. That's a whole different case. Why Mulzi died in the cromulent end screen, nobody really knows. He just kind of died. But that's a death. You get the new best, that's fair. If you get the text screen new best, okay, sure, whatever. That should count as a death. He didn't beat the level. Quickly, before we keep on, I just realized as I was editing this that if someone gets a death in the end screen, people can just like edit the video or whatever to like make it seem like their recording froze or just recording corrupted. That's not that, and it's much harder than it seems to be. You can see in like the metadata of the actual recording and like the source of the recording if it is raw and if it has been rendered or not. If you give them raw footage and it shows a death, then it's a death. The demon list is smart enough to work around that. I'm pretty sure that if someone were to fake a crash or something with that, they would be figured out. But anyway, just wanted to make that discrepancy real fast. But then you have like our other hardware malfunctions that is completely out of whatever. Take Nepesta's Yadagarasu record, for instance. I don't know where in the level it happened, but at some point in the middle of the level, Nepesta's recording software messed up. screwed up, whatever, and his Yatagarasu recording froze a little bit, X amount of time. He was live streaming it. There was no way he would have hacked it. There was no way he could have calculated to freeze the recording software at the time where he did. To hack that percentage for some reason. I don't know why he would do that. That makes no sense. His Yatagarasu record was never accepted. He had to rebeat it. It didn't do it, so on and so forth. Completely valid. I feel like that's a fair thing because he was playing gameplay. The reason why I think the Hypo situation is really stupid and I feel like they don't really have necessarily a right is because it was past last input. And what I think about, what I mean about last input is the fact that while Nepestas and Doggies and Molesy and Moosh and all that stuff was completely fair, I think the last input standard should be implemented in GD. What I mean by this is that, take speedrunning for instance. I was reading this on Twitter and Gerbert at surfer42_ on Twitter was referring to speedrunning, how speedrun records are timed and this timer stops at last input. What they mean by this is that the end screen and end title and like credit sequence of a speedrun does not count towards whether or not your completion is legitimate or your speedrun record is legitimate. It should count towards last input. The speedruns end at last input, and what that means is that after you do your very last input, the timer stops. It would be ridiculous to have someone sit through a timer or sit through something that's completely just nothing. There's no gameplay whatsoever. Why sit through that if there is nothing? If there was a little triple spike at the very end of Sonic Way Infinity, 100% this should not be 100% completion. That is the exact reason why there is so much debate whether or not Super Mario Sunshine can have the start skip as they have, because it goes cutscene, 45 seconds of gameplay, and then another like 3-minute cutscene, and there's been huge debates on whether or not you can skip those 45 seconds of gameplay. Arguments on both sides. For Geometry Dash, I feel like we should implement the last input ideology where a level ends and you get 100% completion upon the exit of last input. So for Sonic Way Infinity, after you finish the last wave spam at the end of the level and the credit sequence starts, that is when you have completed the level. There are no more inputs, there are no more required inputs whatsoever. You have completed the level. And I think that should be the case for everything in case of stuff like this where you have hardware malfunction. The reason why I think this is because I feel like it is ridiculously stupid to just have to bank on this, right? You can't 100% reliably accept the fact that stuff like this can't happen. AP Team is completely at fault here. I think AP Team is 100% at fault for just making a 30-second end screen or whatever. I think that's stupid, but that's 100% besides the point. I think we should be implementing that last input ideology simply because of stuff like this. I feel like it is completely unfair for someone like Hypo, who spent a lot of time trying to beat this level, to be cucked over by something that is out of his power because of the fact that the end screen of the level is a little bit too long. Tell me what you guys think about that. I don't really know. I feel like upholding a standard like this in cases like this where he didn't play the level for like 15 seconds. He was done playing the level like 15-20 seconds ago, and then he gets cucked over by the fact that the level didn't end even though it ended 20 seconds ago. If AP Team were smart and did like everyone else and has the end credit sequence play after you hit the wall, like any sensible creator would ever do, then he would have beaten the level. Easy. But no. And I think that's ridiculous. I think upholding a standard like this is stupid in a lot of ways. And I don't understand why we don't maintain that form of standard. Whether or not they're going to change it to last input, I don't know. There's nothing I can do about it. However, one thing I will mention though before we end off is that I've seen a lot of people, I've seen some people bring up the fact that they only make this discrepancy on easy or on hard levels. Like, oh, it's Sonic Way Infinity, the level's super hard, therefore he deserves to have the 100% because, yeah, it's Sonic Way Infinity. But if it's a level at like 135 on the demons list, then no one really gives a shit. If this happened to a level that was extended list, no one would care about it and no one would really talk anything about it. And truth be told, I probably wouldn't have talked about it myself if it was that, but I feel like it happening to hard levels like this should potentially bring change to the demons list. And my personal takeaway from this is that we should start using speedrun stuff where we do last input. I know I've said last input probably 50,000 times at this point, but that is genuinely what I do think. Tell me what you guys think. What are your guys' thoughts on this situation? Again, please be civil. Do not send hate towards the demon list. They are a bunch of teenagers doing charity work because we want a competitive leaderboard for a cube game that, yeah, they do a lot of great for the community. Without the demons list, I don't think the community would be pushed as far as it is currently. So please do not send hate towards them. They do a fantastic job. But I just think that some things need to be talked about, and I feel like this is a situation that deserves to bring change to the demon list as a whole, because I genuinely do think that the demon list is good for the community. So don't send any hate. I truly appreciate it. Anyway, that was my discussion for the day. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, other guys who know the drill by now. Keep it civil, as always. I like doing discussions like this. However, I don't like it when you guys turn aggressive on others. I've had some mails in the past where people have gotten angry emails. But anyway, I'll see you guys around. Eat your green stealth to stay hydrated. Thank you for making my day better. Hope maybe a little bit better too. Peace out, everyone.